If I had my way, everything would be so nice. This world would be like Paris. No, it would be a paradise. No one would ever have to say, I'm going to get my wish someday. All one would have to do is say, this is my order, if you may.
Welcome to another episode of The School Without Walls. I am Dr. Anthony O. Hobbs, host and founder of this program. Our purpose is to educate, elevate, and activate primarily the African American community with special emphasis on the mentoring of young African American males. To date is January the 20th, 2016. This is the fourth episode of our preparation for February, Black History Month. We feel that it's very important that the community would understand why we have this program, why we have a month set aside for Black history. It's because the true story has not been told, and we are doing the very best we can to bring attention to that. Hopefully that someday we won't have to set aside a special day for such a program. But in the meantime, I'm hoping that I'm motivating, especially some younger person, to stay with the theme, Black history after February. Today I'm going to talk with you on the genesis of African Americans in America, or Africans in America. These articles are written because there is a critical need for a deeper understanding of the role the African American has played in the history of America. It is becoming increasingly evident that a race that does not know its past is confused in its present state and is therefore unable to chart a future course. This is part one of a series of articles that I have written in my book, Food for the Power of Thinking, Book 3. The first, Genesis, by the way, means in the beginning, or the first. The first Black Americans were the 20 blacks to arrive at Jamestown, Virginia, about the latter part of August 1619. Surviving evidence indicate that the first black settlers were not slaves. It appears from the record that they were assigned the same status, indentured servants, as most of the whites were. And indentured servants mean that you have a contract with somebody or some company to come to the New World and work so many years to pay off your debt, and then you're free. At the time of the first detailed census in 1625, there were 23 blacks in Virginia, 11 males, 10 females, and 2 children, constituting 2% of the total population, which was only 1,227 people in the New World, if you will. Keep in mind, we were saying Virginia. There weren't any settlers anywhere else at that point. So Virginia is the first state that we had settlers from abroad. The first black born in America, a boy named Williams, was born in 1623. The first black person born in America was a boy named Williams, was born in 1623. The first black family is identified as Anthony and Elizabeth Negro and their son Williams. According to an early edition of J.C. Houghton's list of immigrants to America, let's keep in mind they were considered as immigrants to this country. We're talking about people other than the Native Americans. The first general institution organized and managed by blacks was the Free African Society in Philadelphia, now known as the African Methodist Episcopal Church. founded on April the 12th, 1787 by Richard Allen and Absalom Jones and their followers. The great scholar W.E.D. Du Bois called the organization the first wavering step of a people toward organized life. The first settler in Chicago was, if we use the English pronunciation, be Jean Baptiste Pontillo de Sable. I'll try it in French. Jean Baptiste Pontillon du Sable. He was a black trader and trapper who built the first house on the bank of Chicago River in 1771. Again, the first citizen of Chicago, Illinois, was a black man, and his name was de Sable. There's a marker for him right now in Chicago. At least 26 of the 44 founders of Los Angeles, California, were descendants of Africans, according to H.H. Bancroft, History of California. The first black Masonic lodge was an African lodge number 459. The first black Masonic lodge was the African Lodge 459, organized in Boston, May the 6th, 1787, with Prince Hall as the master. We're going to stop for a break on this, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
What's good? What's up? What's happening today?
Let's do those pearly whites, man.
Yeah! The boys, check it out.
Stand up, do my terrorists, gon' compare us. Go!
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to try?
I'm fine.
Hey girl, what's the sound? What's the name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Stoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Na 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 na, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Dr. Anthony O'Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program called The School Without Walls. We are in part 2 of the Genesis of Africans in the Americas. The first National Black Convention met at Philadelphia, Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church on September the 20th, 1830. There were 38 delegates from 8 states. Richard Allen was elected president there. And of course, Richard Allen is the founder of what is so commonly called now the AME Church, and that stands for African Methodist Episcopal Church. The first Negro History Week was celebrated in the second week of February in 1926. The founder of this was the Dr. Carter G. Woodson. He organized this to bring to the attention of African Americans primarily the importance of the African American working to place himself in history. The first performance of a song, Lift Every Voice and Sing, regarded by blacks prior to the Civil Rights struggle as the Negro National Anthem or the Black National Anthem, occurred on February the 12th, 1900. James Weldon Johnson and his brother, Rosamond Johnson, wrote the song. And I like to put a pin here to the, quote, educated African Americans. I don't think you're doing just to yourself and your people when you just list the song when it is sung as lift every voice and sing. You should put in parentheses at least once known as the Negro National Anthem. Otherwise, your children won't even know what it stood for in the struggle that we had gone to. I've seen so often lift every voice and sing with no reference to its history. So I shall recite it. It is a song that I grew up with. Most of us who are 50 and older grew up with lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet, with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers shied. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last where the white gleam of our bright stars cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by the might led us into the light, keep us forever in thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God and true to our native land. Again, our youngsters need to know what this song is all about. How many more minutes do I have, Randy? Continuing with the Genesis, the first African-American secretary of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was James Weldon Johnson, who was in on the writing of this song I just recited. Appointed to the position on November 6, 1920. The first African American to a major American foundation was Franklin Thomas, who was named president of the Ford Foundation January 30th, 1976. Such for your history. Examine articles concerning your history. Inquire, investigate, and examine materials concerning your history. It is so important that we who, quote, call ourselves educated be the proper leaders in developing our own destiny rather than waiting for others to do it for us. The history is important. If one does not know one's history, one does not know who he is. If you do not know who you are, others could not respect you. It's impossible to respect you. So it's so important that we understand, as other ethnic groups do understand, the importance of augmenting our education through our religious institutions. So we really beg the pastors to use your educational part of your church, your educational buildings, for programs that will enhance whatever the school is teaching your children. And concluding on this particular part of this is section 2, I believe, we have a need to seek out educators and have them to talk with us pastors on how they might help us when it comes to what I'm speaking of. The pastor should have the vision, but it's impossible for the pastor to have all the skills needed to properly educate his people. We will be back in just a few minutes with the third part of this program. Thank you.
Dappled sunlight through trees and a wisteria-covered front porch.
No 2 days are alike.
An older woman sorts her medication.
So every day, you prepare.
A woman who is blind feeds her service dog.
For yourself?
She places the bowl on the floor and he eats.
For those you love?
A mother using a wheelchair packs a lunchbox. Her daughter takes it, kisses her, and runs off.
For whatever the day may bring.
A man who is deaf signs to a loved one and departs.
Being prepared is a part of who you are. But in the case of a disaster, preparation isn't always front of mind. In an emergency, when help and resources may not be available for days, being prepared is more important than ever. It's up to everyone to be informed about what types of emergencies might occur where you live or visit. Knowing the best responses for your personal circumstances is the key to maintaining your health, safety, and independence. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency and how a personal support network can assist you. Build a kit that contains the specific things you need to survive for several days: food and water, medication and supplies.
The older woman assembles her kit,
as well as any important documents you may need.
She includes a USB drive.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, and disaster preparation is no different.
The man who is deaf stores his kit in the closet.
There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you.
The mother using a wheelchair closes her kit and hugs her daughter. Words on screen.
Be informed, make a plan, build a kit, get involved. Ready.gov/myplan.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Anthony O. Hobbs, founder and host of this educational program called The School Without Walls. Today, we are continuing with the genesis of Africans in America, dealing at this time more or less with education, part 2. The first, and I'd like for you to get your pens and pads out and take these things down and share them with your children, because that's the future of any generation. The first African American to receive a degree from an American college was Emmanuel Hayes. He was awarded an honorary master's at Middlebury College in 1804. The first African American college graduate was Alexander Lucas Twilight, who received a bachelor's degree from Middlebury College in 1823. He was an educator and a politician. Edward A. Jones received a BA degree at Amherst College on August the 23rd, 1826. The first African American to receive a PhD By the way, that's the highest degree you can receive anywhere in the world, was Patrick Francis Haley at Leuven, Belgium, on July the 26th, 1865. He received it abroad. The first African American to receive a PhD degree from an American university was Edward A. Bouchet, who was awarded a degree in physics at Yale University in 1876. He was an educator. The first African American college, the first African American colleges were the Cheney State Training School, Pennsylvania, established in 1849. Lincoln University, Pennsylvania, established in 1854. And Wilberforce University in Ohio, established in 1856. I'd like to make a few comments on Wilberforce University. Is an African American university where many of the earlier or older African American ministers were trained. The first black president of the major denominational schools established after the Civil War was John Hope, who was elected president of Morehouse College in June 1906. The first black president of Howard University was Mordecai Johnson, elected on June the 20th, 1926. Dr. Charles S. Johnson became the first black black president of Fisk University in 1646. Patrick Francis Haley was the first African American president of a predominantly white university. He was inaugurated at Georgetown University, the oldest Catholic university in America, on July the 3rd, 1874. The first African American president of a major predominantly white university in the 20th century was Fulton R. Walton, who was named president of Michigan State University on October the 17th, 1969. In 1978, Walton became Chancellor of the State University of New York. The first black Rhodes Scholar was Alan Lockett, who was elected in 1907. The second black Rhodes Scholar was Joseph Sanders, was not selected until 1960. I think it's important to explain what a Rhodes Scholar is. It's not commonly taught in school what a Rhodes Scholar is. That was a very wealthy man named Rhodes, I don't remember his first name, who set aside billions of dollars to put in trust for the more highly educated young people to go to school free of charge. And that's what that's all about. Rhodes, Mr. Rhodes, was a person who had a certain philosophy of life that I won't go into detail, that he wanted to make sure the smarter people of the world would become one. Our president, President Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. He was among those. So we're getting ready to conclude with the final section of this program. I'm going to name one or two more things and make my final remarks. The first African American elected to public office was Alexander Lucas Twilight, who was sent to the Vermont legislature in 1836. He also was the first African American college graduate. The second black officer was William A. Letzdorf, who was named sub-counsel of the Michigan Territory of Yerba Buena in San Francisco, Spanish name, October 18th, 1845. In September 1847, Letzdorf was elected to the San Francisco Town Council. He became the town treasurer in 1848 and served on the committee which established San Francisco's first school. Again, we're going to close the 4th episode of preparing for the Black History Month of February, and coming up next will be my pastor, Reverend Cecil Williams, pastor of St. John African Methodist Episcopal Church here in the city. Thank you all for listening. God bless you.